Having won 5 of their last 7 ball games at Minnesota and at Texas State, it's the stretch run for head coach Greg Frady and the Georgia State baseball team. And today on the Georgia State Sports Update, we're going to talk to Coach Frady as well as starting shortstop Justin Jones. A little later in the show, we'll talk to Director of Athletics Charlie Cobb. Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome to the Georgia State Sports Update. We're talking baseball this week. We're going to talk to head coach Greg Frady here in the first segment. What a great trip, for the most part, to Minnesota and to Texas State. Of course, Texas State, very important because it was a Sun Belt Conference series. But you come back, and if you look back, going back to the Louisiana-Monroe series, 5 of the last 7 in the win column. You split with Minnesota. You took 2 of 3 at Texas State. Right now playing maybe the best baseball this team has played all year.
Yeah, it's ironic that you say that because that's the last thing I said to the team is that I feel like we're playing the best baseball of the season right now. And, of course, that's what every coach and every team wants to do is be playing the best at the end of the season. You know, but I've been coaching long enough to know that you got to continue to give effort. You got to continue to keep playing, and confidence plays such a factor. Health plays a big factor. How your pitching is in the health column plays a huge factor. So, but yeah, I think in general everybody is really leaving it on the field, playing the hardest and the best we've played all year.
You know, Coach, as you go back very early in the season, though, I think we had you on and we previewed the season. We were talking about how aggressive the schedule is this year, or has been this year. One of the most aggressive schedules that you know we've seen in the recent history of Georgia State baseball. And of course, the team has been up and down from early on in the season. Again, injuries playing a pretty key role in that. But you knew you had to go to Minnesota. It's a little odd to go on the road to play a Big Ten 2-game series late in the season. How did you approach that series? You took a little bit of momentum because you took 2 of 3 from Louisiana-Monroe, and then you knew you had to go on the road for the next 5. But that was a little daunting, to have to go on the road all the way to Minnesota, this late in the season.
Well, it didn't feel daunting. What felt pretty big was that we had 2 games in the middle of the week, and right now we're just, our pitching is like every team this time of year, they're worn.
Right.
And to try to add another game in the middle of the week was it can be overwhelming. But here's why we played Minnesota to begin with. Coach John Anderson is a friend of mine. A lot of respect for him. A 42-year coach, and he does things right. They were good enough to come down and play us in a 3-game series last year in Panthersville.
Right.
My agreement was I would go back and play them a 2-game series in the middle of the week. And of course, the weather in Minnesota, the only chance is going to be in May. And so we're out of school. I thought the boys would really enjoy seeing another part of the country. I can tell you that it's a big part for me as a coach to give our players as many good experiences as possible outside of playing baseball, but of course playing baseball. And so that's how that worked out. And then Minnesota's going to come back next year and play in the Atlanta Challenge Tournament. So what really worked out is 2 trips for 1 for us, and it just really worked. And Doug Justice and Charlie Cobb is on board with that too as well. So we were excited about that. And the game being on Big Ten TV turns out to be a national game for people across the country to see our product and make the Georgia State University name more recognizable in this country, not just in the South, but in the Big Ten country and even west of the Mississippi, if you will. So it was in my opinion, it was a win-win. So I pretty much I called everybody I knew to watch the game on Tuesday night, and we played terribly on Tuesday night. So I don't know if it was the travel, I don't know if it was the Big Ten, I don't know what it was. We just didn't play well. But what the team has done the best all year is they've rebounded, and then on Wednesday night we played outstanding. And it was just a lot of fun. We wind up taking the lead in the 8th on a squeeze play, which was pretty exciting for the team. We fought back. We got ahead. We fought back. It was back and forth. And then to win that game was just really a boost for our team. And then on Thursday, on travel day, took the team over to see the Minnesota Twins play and the Oakland Athletics. It was a great moment for our team. Everybody enjoyed it. So I think spirits were high getting on the plane going to Texas. We rolled into Texas. Texas State's got a good team, and we played well. And all three of those games were back and forth and back and forth. And our effort and our resiliency was just outstanding. And it probably couldn't have happened at a better time to win a road series in the Sun Belt as we are fighting now to get ourselves into the Sun Belt Conference Tournament and position ourselves in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament.
Well, you know, you were with me on the radio in the Louisiana Monroe series. One of the things we talked about is how in recent years, un-Georgia State-like it is for this team to be hitting in that 228, 229, 230. Well, right now you're hitting 241 right out of the game notes. 31 runs on 35 hits in those 3 games in Texas. You scored 11, you scored 9 in a 10-9 loss, you scored 11 again. I mean, the offense, you know, finally woke up. It looked like we've gotten used to seeing Georgia State play offensively.
We made a few adjustments to how we're approaching the game. I think the guys have loosened up. At the end of the day, it's about players and confidence. And I think we have good players. I believe in our players. I'm personally very confident in our own players. I think the confidence level lies within themselves of how they feel about themselves. And sometimes it seems dark when things are not going your way and it seems difficult and it seems hard to just go forward. But I've been encouraging all of them to say, hey, don't worry about that. Let's put a full body of work together and then let's reevaluate when that's all over. And I've been coaching long enough to know things look different at different times of the year. And right now, I feel like we're in a good place, in a good way. We've hit the ball. Guys are doing a good job of getting the bat hit out. You following the stats like you do, you know we've hit a lot of home runs lately.
Yeah.
And, led by Cam Sperry, Will Kilgore and Nick Gatewood have hit the majority of those. And those are names that are emerging that we need to emerge. They're everyday players, but we need those guys to be front page of leading the team, not just the same old names that some people may recognize.
Right. Names like Ryan Blanton, who has been a mainstay and a great player in his 4 years here at Georgia State. You mentioned Nick Gatewood, Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week. How about these numbers? 2 home runs in the series at Texas State, 11 of 21, 3 home runs the last 5 ball games.
Well, the trip starting with Minnesota and Texas State, you can directly look at Nick Gatewood. He led us offensively. Cam Sperry certainly played well, and so did Will Kilgore. But Nick Gatewood absolutely led us offensively. He hit home runs, and I mean, he hit a majestic home run at Texas State. It was fantastic how far that ball went. And he knocked in runs. He caught all 3 games. Nick now is our everyday catcher. We're very proud of him. And I even tweeted, when you do things right, it's easy to see why things happen good for you. And he's worked hard. He's given the right effort. He deserves this chance to move into the everyday position, and he's doing it. He caught a very good 3 games at Texas State and at Minnesota, the 2 games there as well. He threw a runner out in a Sunday game that turned out to be a real pivotal time in the game. And so we're excited for Nick. Nick's a homegrown guy for us, a sophomore that has really grown up. And I told him last year, I thought he'd be one of the best hitters in the Sun Belt this year. And that was a long way away from him being ready to do that. But right now, currently, he's 6th overall in batting average in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, which is great. He'll be around here for another few years. Coach, appreciate you coming in. Big series coming up here. Arkansas, Little Rock on the road. Georgia Southern at home to close out the regular season. Again, 5 out of the last 7 in the win column. Hopefully we'll keep it up and take that momentum right into the postseason tournament.
Well, as you know, Dave, it's really never how you start, it's how you finish.
Right.
And I think all our goals are in front of us. What we have to do is show up and play our best, give the best effort, have our attitude in the right place, and everybody individually do their job. We realize that people are tired, their own fumes. It's the end of the year. But this is what separates playoff teams and not playoff teams, teams that can find a way through and push through when they're tired, banged up, beat up. That's what makes great baseball players. I believe in our guys. I know they'll give everything they have.
All right, Coach, appreciate it. Best of luck down the stretch here.
Thank you.
I want to thank Georgia State's head baseball coach Greg Frady joining us here in the opening segment of the Georgia State Sports Update. Coming up, we're going to talk to starting shortstop Justin Jones. Joining us right now in the Georgia State Sports Update. Again, we're talking baseball, joined by Georgia State shortstop Justin Jones. Justin, thanks for being in studio. And you guys just had a really, really good road trip. It started out in Minnesota. You split 2 games with the Gophers up there, and then on down to Texas back in Sun Belt play. You guys have won 5 of your last 7. This is coming really at a great time during the season, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me first off. But yeah, the Panthers are playing well right now, playing good baseball. That road trip was exciting. Glad to be back in Atlanta, play here at home for a little while. But yeah, it was a great road trip.
What was it like playing at Minnesota? It's kind of odd to go on a 2-game trip in the Big Ten this late in the season. 9-1 loss in the first game, but boy, you guys bounced back in game 2, didn't you?
Yeah, Minnesota was real fun. Going up there, I've never been up that north before in my entire life. But yeah, it was a cool place. Going to the Twins game was awesome after we played those 2 games. But going up there and just kind of soaking it in, enjoying some time on the road with the teammates is always fun. Didn't play well the first game, but as you said, the second game really started to come together. And from that point forward, we've been rolling.
Of course, it's always fun when you win. It's even more fun when you win on the road. And as you said, the entire team got to go take in a Minnesota Twins game before heading down to Texas. Those are some of the things that you'll remember about your college baseball career, along with individual games or maybe individual hits or home runs. But it's kind of the camaraderie of the team and being able to do fun things like that you take with you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I love so much about baseball is just the camaraderie. It's almost like a brotherhood you have with your teammates and stuff like that. Going to the Twins game, just going on road trips, having a lot of fun. Once school lets out, that's the stuff you remember forever.
All right, so on down to Texas, and we're coming down the stretch here in Sun Belt Conference play, and you guys, again, take 2 out of 3 at Texas State. Again, winning on the road is fun. It's even more fun when you're winning on the road in conference play.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we played really well at Texas. Going on the road this year, we haven't had that much success, and it felt really good to just turn that around and be able to win some baseball games on the road for once.
Again, we're talking to Justin Jones here in the Georgia State Sports Update. Right now hitting .270, team leading 10 doubles, 22 RBIs. That's second on the ball club. And again, I think that you look at this team at where they are right now, and guys look up to players like you and Ryan Blanton, so on and so forth. How do you accept that role? Is that a role that you looked forward to, knowing coming into this season that you're going to be looked upon to take a little bit of a leadership role?
Yeah, it feels kind of strange. It doesn't feel like I've been here all that long, but this is my 3rd year.
Right.
And the juniors and the seniors are who the guys look up to. And you talk about Ryan Blanton, he's a great example of that senior leadership we have. But yeah, that's a role that I've come into this year, and I take a lot of pride in that. And sort of our coaches, they've kind of instilled that in us, is that, every good team has good leaders. It starts with the leaders of the team. And so that's something that, I've definitely tried to be for our team this year.
Yeah, not necessarily known as a home run hitter, but boy, you've hit some timely home runs this year. Just going back, you had a solo home run in the 8th inning earlier in the season in the Texas-Arlington series to win that game. You had a 2-run shot at Texas State in the 11-8 win. So your home runs have been very timely this year. You've also had a number of walk-off hits this year. And then we talk about timely hitting. At least in the Georgia State Media Guide, your picture is going to be right there this year.
Yeah, well, you talk about playing Texas teams. I think my only home runs against those guys. We need to play more Texas teams. But yeah, I don't know. I've been lucky enough to come up to the plate in some big situations, and I've been blessed enough to be able to get some good hits for us. It's just kind of how baseball goes, and it's exciting, and it's been a whole lot of fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the academic side of your Georgia State career, because you have a 4.08 GPA, which is not even the highest on the Georgia State team. You're behind Rhett Harper. And I know that's probably a little bit of within the team competition. But talk a little bit about your collegiate career in balancing the time that it takes to be a Division I college baseball player and come up with a GPA of 4.08. I mean, there's a lot of work on both sides.
Yeah, it just really comes down to a lot of time management skills. We have great people in our academic staff, like Jesse and the rest of the athletic department, who help us out, with study hall and all those great resources we have. But it really is like you just have to figure out how to balance things. You have to, commit to studying here and going to practice, and then you're like, all right, after practice I got to do this, I got to do these other things, and it's really kind of like a juggling act, but it's well worth it. Going to school, play baseball, and get a degree at the same time. It's definitely a privilege and something I take seriously.
Yeah, coming out of Warner Robins, Houston County High School, did you envision being in Atlanta when you were playing high school ball and being at a place as big as Georgia State and playing Division I college baseball? And tell everybody as well what you're studying and majoring in here.
Well, I'm a health and physical education major currently. I figured I like the game of baseball so much I might be able to coach it one day if I'm lucky enough. So that's kind of my plan there. But yeah, Warner Robins and Atlanta are a little bit different. I wasn't, I never envisioned myself in downtown Atlanta. It just kind of worked out well for me, and I was lucky enough to end up here at Georgia State. So.
All right, lastly, tell me about this hobby. You guys are known to take those fishing poles with you on road trips.
Yeah, the fishing pole is just as important as my bat on the road trips. I keep it in my bat bag along with my bats, and me and a few of the other teammates like to go see if we can catch some fish when we have some spare time, whether it be here or on the road. But yeah, I'm actually a proud member of the Georgia State Bass Fishing Club. Go Panthers.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State starting shortstop Justin Jones joining us here on the Georgia State Sports Update. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb. Joining us right now on the Georgia State Sports Update, Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb. And Charlie was with us recently, obviously, when we taped the show over at Georgia State Stadium. Great to have you back in studio with us this week. And exciting time here, not only Georgia State athletic-wise, but across campus. Graduations have been going on, and Charlie, here are the numbers. 61 student athletes graduated, 28 of them football players. I've been working graduation, saw a lot of the student athletes come through, a lot of football players. Great time of the year. A little sad to see some of the players, after 3-4 years graduate, but boy, what a great feeling to see so many student athletes getting their degrees.
Graduation weekend's obviously always a bittersweet moment. You celebrate, especially for the kids and their families, the accomplishment of what graduation from college means. But you also think back and reflect if the impact that a lot of these kids have had, not only on the athletic program but also on the university. And it's, as we shared with our kids, we had a reception Monday night for the kids and their families, and we shared with them it's a simple thing. Graduation is really about the families, but it's also an opportunity to say, hey, it's that springboard for the next step in life. And every one of us, I think, when you go through that college stage, you want to be a professional athlete. You have aspirations that your athletic ability is going to buy you a big house and let you live in the beach and retire, at the age of 35. And the fast reality is that's not the case for 99.9% of college athletes. And so, what we can do to give our kids an opportunity to take that next step in life and venture forward is it's always a gratifying moment.
Just wanted to touch a little bit, and you see this across the landscape in college athletics, and that's the the academic support system and the services that are offered by by athletic departments academically. They talk about the arms race with regards to facilities from football stadiums or basketball arenas or baseball stadiums, so on and so forth. It's really kind of the same thing in the academic world within athletics as well, as you look at a lot of the schools across the country.
The facilities race is vital for your athletic program to be successful. Part of it has to do with a first impression when a kid comes on a visit. Obviously game days for recruiting purposes and also for fan engagement, fan entertainment, but it's the day-to-day facility piece that really has the most lasting effect on a kid's college experience. And first and foremost, we're blessed to have a great staff from the academic advising standpoint. What Brad Horton and Jessica Summey and the rest of our staff do. I think we've staffed it to a level to where our coaches and our kids feel like they get that individual one-on-one attention. We spend a considerable amount of money on tutors and help academically throughout the year for our kids. But ultimately, it's got to come down to the kids, and they've got to have it in their soul and in a core value in their own personality that degree is important, and doing their best on campus. I've learned, and we're going to share a lot this summer with our coaches, that it's pretty simple. The kids that typically perform the best, when you look at data, when you look at personalities, are the kids that are handling all three facets of their life. If they're handling their schoolwork, they're handling their character development piece, then they're going to typically be your better performers, on the court or on the field. And so I want to show our coaches this. I want to use some raw numbers and data sets to do this so that they understand and take a little bit of the emotion out. But incredibly proud of how our kids are performing in the classroom. We've got some information coming out later this week or first of next week as we get spring grades. We had a really good fall semester academically. We had an even better spring semester in the preliminary numbers, and not really at a point I want to put that out there because I think it's going to really be a great point of pride for us to use going forward of how our kids performed this spring, and really excited about that.
Again, we're talking to Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb, here in the Georgia State Sports Update. Just recently, we finished up the Panther Athletic Club Spring Tour. Stops all around the metro Atlanta area and then closed it out over in Savannah. And what a great opportunity to get your football coach, your basketball coaches. Yeah. In some instances, Coach Frady from baseball was able to be there. Golf and tennis, the two golf coaches were able to join us at a couple of them. But a great opportunity because the Panther Athletic Club is amongst the lifeblood and support of Georgia State athletics, one of them. Yeah. And it's a great opportunity to get to bring your coaches out and have that one-on-one meeting opportunities and to kind of tell the Georgia State story to some folks that are really, really supportive of the program.
I think the first thing that needs to be said about the spring tours, everybody told me the one in Savannah was the best. I think that was the one that you missed.
Yeah,
and
you took my place.
Yes, I think I took your place as host or MC. So I've gotten a lot of compliments about the fact how that was the best of the sites. So
well, there goes my job for next year.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
That,
So well, we'll work on that. Maybe we can find you a supporting role, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if we're going to be successful in this athletic program, the university, frankly, if we're going to be successful, it comes down to people wanting to support, and candidly, it's financially. They want to support, help us with our scholarship, help us with our facilities, and so the more outreach that we can do to grow and we've got great momentum with the Panther Athletic Club. It's a matter of educating people on what the role for the PAC is really in terms of how it plays into the overall operation of the athletic program. But at the end of the day, we need to get as many people on board, giving financially, helping us with the facilities, helping us with our scholarship bill, and then also at the end of the day buying tickets, whether it's football tickets, basketball tickets. The economics of where we are, we're very affordable for the average person to be a part of. Now you're asking people to give their time as well, and that's a huge thing as everybody gets into their own personal lives and the busy scope of what everybody does in terms of their daily life. But at the end of the day, this program is going to be as good as the people who want to support it financially are going to allow us to be, and it's reaching that point now where as we grow and as we build, we need people to jump on board and be a part of it.
Again, an exciting time to be a part of Georgia State athletics and Georgia State football. Again, when Charlie was with us before, we were at Georgia State Stadium. We saw the construction going on. Quick update on where we are with that, because August 31 going to be here before we know it, and Georgia State football is going to kick off its 8th season at Georgia State Stadium against Tennessee State that night.
It's it's a great broken record to keep repeating, but things are going well. The construction is right on schedule. As we have the opportunity to go out a couple days each week to see it, they're making tremendous progress, and it's visual progress now.
Right.
Most of the work underneath the ground has been completed, and so as we move forward, but as we all, everybody in Atlanta sees with this bridge project, if you put the resources ahead of time, or dedicate resources to a project, you can get it knocked out pretty quickly, and I tip my hat as I have really throughout this project for our designers and the architects and also the construction crew, because they're really making it work, and certainly anticipate August 31 being an unbelievable day for Georgia State.
Yeah, that'll be Georgia State kicking off the season, its 8th season of football against Tennessee State at the new Georgia State Stadium. The other thing that's going really well right now is the in-state competition between Georgia State and Georgia Southern. It's an annual competition that has now started second or third season. Georgia State has won it in each of the previous years, but right now up 15-3, and this is head-to-head competition, Georgia State, Georgia Southern in all sports.
Yeah, it's the second year of the rivalry series, and we did the first year kind of as a beta test to see what it could do, and we were fortunate enough to win last year, and we've had a really good competitive year this season, and certainly with a couple more games or events to be played. But really proud of our coaches, really proud of our kids for embracing the rivalry series. I think whenever you see Georgia Southern against Georgia State, our kids step up a little bit, and that's what you hope. That's
Right.
in terms of building a rivalry, and certainly football and basketball get a lot of the media attention, but our softball kids, our baseball kids, track kids, tennis. I mean, everybody's excited about the opportunity to beat their rival, and healthy competition is a great thing for all of us.
Georgia State and Georgia Southern will close out the college baseball season in just a couple of weeks, the weekend before the Sun Belt Conference baseball tournament. That series this year will be here in Atlanta out at the ballpark at Panthersville. I know one thing you got to be really proud of and happy about. You got two teams that are about to head into NCAA postseason play. Brett Ross leads the men's tennis team into the NCAA tournament, and Joe Inman leads men's golf into the NCAA tournament. So
Yeah, I made the comment to somebody. We'd had a really strong competitive year. We just hadn't won the championship yet, and then all of a sudden, in the span of about 3 days, Brett's team won and Joe's team won. Kathy, our women's golf team, had a chance to win.
Yep.
Really up until about probably the last 2 or 3 holes in the tournament. Our women's tennis team, again had a chance to repeat and didn't quite get it done. But so we've had a great year. It's always fun to win championships, and certainly I had 2 great coaches at different ends of the coaching spectrum. If you're a guy getting started, one guy that's been doing it longer than you and I have been alive combined. But the reality of it is that they do it the right way, and their kids represent our university the right way. And really excited. We're going to drive to Winston Friday to watch the tennis team play, and then head to Baton Rouge next week to watch the golf kids compete. And it's always fun to be able to support our teams in NCAA competition, because it's kind of that next evolutionary step for our program to make. And now we need to start making runs and having more teams participate in postseason.
all right, Charlie, appreciate it. Great having you here in studio, and again, exciting times right now with Georgia State Stadium looming, and that first football game will be here before you know it.
Yeah, it's always as you wind down the season, everybody's like, okay, we need to take a collective deep breath and go, wow, I can't believe the school year's over, the semester's over. We still got a couple teams to play, but it's the exciting part of what's coming,
Yeah.
and how we can build on it and take the successes that we've had from this past year and build on it for the next year going forward, and 2 or 3 years down the road, because it's fun when you have opportunities, and it's fun when you have the opportunity and the potential to really do some cool things, and really excited about obviously the fall coming back around, and getting ready for another exciting year. So appreciate everything you do. We kid a lot, man, but you're really good at what you do, and really appreciate what you do for the university across all levels, not just athletics. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, and appreciate you being in studio with us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank Georgia State's Director of Athletics, Charlie Cobb, joining us here this week on the Georgia State Sports Update. Time now to take a look at what's coming up this week on the schedule in Georgia State University athletics. Coming up Friday through Sunday, May 12th through the 14th, track and field at the Sun Belt Conference Championships. They'll be out in Arlington, Texas on Friday, May 12th. Men's tennis taking on Kentucky at the NCAA tournament. Again, Charlie will be there. They're going to be up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at that regional. And then Monday through Wednesday, May 15th through the 17th, Joe Inman and the men's golf team at the NCAA regional in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So good luck to all the Georgia State teams in their postseason endeavors in the Sun Belt. That'll do it for our show this week. I want to thank our guests, head baseball coach Greg Frady, shortstop Justin Jones, and Director of Athletics Charlie Cobb. I'm Dave Cohen for the entire crew. Thanks for watching the Georgia State Sports Update.